Dope on a rope, hippie chips, even a university that teaches cannabis cultivation. In California, marijuana isn't so taboo. It was the first state to legalize medical marijuana, and in the November 2010 election, it may become the first state to legalize it for recreational use. But legal or not, it seems that California already has a thriving cannabis culture. My journey into this controversial culture began in San Francisco's historic Haight District, the epicenter of the 1960s hippie movement. I met with Don Stannard Friel, a former hippie who used to live here and who agreed to show me around some of his old hangouts.
Girl, we couldn't get much higher.
This is a great place for music and weed, right here.
Now a professor of sociology and anthropology, Don explains how the marijuana scene has changed since the 60s.
This is where, you come to a concert and you have 10,000 people and smoking marijuana and doing whatever they were doing and dancing, and the whole scene was right here. This is the ground zero. The music, the sex, the drugs, consciousness was changing, and the generation was responding to the changes. And now you have young people that are coming here and expecting to find that, and it's been gone for 40 years now, right? And so they wind up living in the woods. So there's much more anger, I think. And so, they're smoking weed, but there's who knows what else. Not that back in the 60s too, but it was psychedelics, which can do horrible things to people. But I just didn't experience the anger that you feel right now. The mental health system.
Even as Don was explaining the current problem of mentally ill and drug-addicted homeless people living in the park, we were interrupted by a drug deal going on completely out in the open.
And, sir, can we ask you a question?
What's that?
She's doing a documentary on marijuana today,
right,
as opposed to back in the day, and I was here back in the day.
All right, give me a second. I'll be free to talk in a minute.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Business.
He has a joint. He has a lid with him, or a baggie full of marijuana, and that's.
Is that pretty common? That's pretty common to see here.
Yes, it's very common to see here. I mean, that, as I said, this time of day there just isn't that much going on, but later on it will be. But I mean, he seems open enough to have an interesting conversation. But he's got big buds there.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. He's doing business right now.
After finishing his business, the dealer returns.
Why do you think, and it never occurred to me, but if you can go down and buy weed at a medical marijuana clinic, or you can buy it here in the park, why would someone choose the park?
It's like buying gasoline. You have gasoline $2.99 on this corner, right?
Yeah.
And then you have gasoline that is like $2.06 on the next corner.
Yeah.
What do? You waste time going to the gas station that's $2.06, or you get the gas station there.
Yeah. You're here. I'm here.
I'm here, right?
Yeah.
And I never, people do that.
And it's not just San Francisco where marijuana is so out in the open. At a comedy club in Sunnyvale, just 1 hour south of San Francisco, there's a whole show about it. The Marijuana Logs features Tony Kameen, Rob Cantrell, and Dan Gabriel, 3 comedians who aren't shy about declaring their love for the bud.
We're excited about marijuana. Marijuana pleases us. And as the title of this show suggests, we're here to talk about marijuana.
We're here to think about it, to hear stories about it, to learn about it, to understand it, to buy it. And by it, we mean marijuana.
So why write a whole show about marijuana?
I think pot is sort of borderline risque. It's not, it's like the breasts of sexuality, where like, who doesn't really like breasts? Who doesn't really have a problem with pot? But still, it's a little, just enough risque.
How many people here think that marijuana should be legalized by applause? that be sweet if we could legalize marijuana by applauding?
But for some people, like anti-marijuana activist Ron Kirkish, the possible legalization of marijuana is no laughing matter.
I don't care what the pro-pot forces say. When you talk to the prisoners, when you talk to the people that have quit drugs, and they all say it started with marijuana, that's the truth. They don't want to believe that, and they don't want you to believe it, but that's the truth. My opponents say, oh, it's a no problem drug. That's not true. It's not true at all.
But couldn't we say the same thing about alcohol?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
But those are legal.
Yes, they are. And unfortunately, look at the damage alcohol and tobacco are doing to our society today. Is that what we want to do? Add another one? Is that really the right way to go?
Still, there are others who disagree. Alex Woon started the San Jose State University chapter of Students for Sensible Drug Policies, a group fighting to fully legalize marijuana.
I know a bunch of people who come to Americans for Safe Access, and they don't have a medical card, but they say that they only have a few months to live. They have either cancer, HIV, or AIDS, and if it helps them be able to function and live out the rest of their life, they should be able to. One of my best friends has epilepsy, so if he doesn't vaporize in the morning or doesn't eat an edible the night before, then he will have a seizure the next morning. It kind of sucks, but that's the reality of it.
It's estimated that over 200,000 Californians now have a medical marijuana card. But anti-marijuana activists say that they're not being used legitimately.
Less than 2% of the people that smoke marijuana for medicinal reasons use it for that reason. All the rest are using it for recreational use. They'll say they're sick, they've got a bad back, they hurt their leg, or they've got writer's cramp, or things like that, or they've got anxiety. That's the biggest one. I've got anxiety. I have to take a test today. I'm nervous. And so they want to go and use that as a ruse for smoking marijuana. And that's what I'm against. It's not FDA approved, and you have people out there that are criminals that are trying to sell it and make a buck and poison our kids. It's all part of the drug culture that they have, buy this stuff, it's good for you, it's medicine. It's all garbage.
But according to Woon, it's not garbage.
It does not cause cancer. It does not cause nearly as much harm as previously stated. It's never caused a single death alone. There are some pundits that say, well, if it does become legalized, then our children are going to be affected. They're going to be exposed to this devil weed. But I think we really need education. That's the main thing we need. Education is going to really shape how our children view marijuana. We have tobacco education, we have alcohol education. I don't see why we don't have marijuana education. Hopefully California can be used as a model for the rest of the world that marijuana is not harmful.
California legalized medical marijuana in 1996, and since then, the number of dispensaries has grown from less than 100 to over 1,000. There are even delivery services for patients too ill to leave their homes, like Medex in San Jose.
Medex Deliveries, Daniel speaking, how can I help you? Can I get your doctor's recommendation number, please?
I went to their headquarters to speak with Daniel Hovland, president of the company, about the medical community's role in the fight for fully legalizing marijuana.
We're fighting for the same thing if you think about it. The communities that are saying, we want, to protect our kids, and that's exactly what we want to do. Through control and regulation of this industry, it'll be the same as like a pharmacy or a liquor store or a tobacco industry where, there's kids that aren't able to get that, and so they go through, well, of course they're able to if they go through the wrong means, but to go to a liquor store and try and buy alcohol, for example, or go to a pharmacy and try and get a prescription that you don't have, of course you're not going to be able to get it without proper identification or with a recommendation or a prescription, for example. So there's lots of institutions, medical institutions, that have been established, and we could be viewed as the same. So, I don't think that it's going to really hurt the industry, or it will hurt the people.
Suffering a deficit of more than $20 billion, it could be a profitable move to legalize marijuana. It's estimated that over $1.3 billion in taxes could be made in the first year alone. I went to downtown Oakland to find out what the people of California think about this.
It's already almost legalized. People, you couldn't ask anyone if it wasn't legalized now, you know what I mean? People wouldn't really, it's kind of hard. The boundaries just need to be a little bit more clear.
It's a great thing. I'm looking forward to it happening. I think it will happen. I think it's good for the city. I think it's good for the state.
I don't know what they've put into marijuana, but there's something they put in it, and it's a stench. And the stench is horrible. And they don't seem to realize they're walking around and it smells.
I don't think it's the right time to legalize it, partly because of all the drug trafficking that goes on in our border. And so I would be scared that more violence would occur.
When people passed the peace pipe, it wasn't tobacco at first. It was marijuana and other naturally, you know what I'm saying, natural substances before it was that chemically processed tobacco. You know what I'm saying? It was marijuana. So I feel like, you know what I'm saying, if they legalize it, it would create a lot more stability in America.
I think the tax revenue on that could be pretty lucrative, especially for a state that's sort of suffering financially. I don't know. It makes good sense, and it's California. Come on, you know? There may as well be one thing that everybody else in the world thinks about California that's actually true.
So no matter what the outcome of November's election, it seems like marijuana has already become deeply implanted in California's culture.
I picked up the San Francisco Weekly today, and it's all about drinking, and then you have some green relief stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know, California best. So it's actually already. I mean, whether it passes or not on paperwork,
it's here.
It's there.
It's